Hello. So, today I'm going to be showing my needle collection. So I store all of my needles in this little roll-up which I sewed, and I got the pattern off Pinterest, and I'll link it down below because it was easy to make. So here we go. These are my needles and my hooks. So I'm using some at the moment because I'm a work in progress in lots of projects, so this isn't the full collection, but it is most of them. So we'll start with the circular needles at the bottom here. So I keep them in here so they can be curled up. So these are my first pair. They are 4mm circular needles for making socks with, because I don't really like working with double pointed needles. I find that they slip off and I don't have a good way to store them because I don't have any stoppers for the bottom. So I find circular needles are a lot better for projects like that because they're easier to store. And there's only one of them, which is pretty good. So they're 4mm and they're quite small. Then these are bigger ones, I think. Yeah, these are also 4mm. I'm not sure what the length of the cable is, but it's quite big. You could probably make a jumper on it, I think, because it's big enough to do that, or a hat or something with using magic loop technique. And yeah, I like these because, again, they're just one big thing. And I also like using them as straight needles to do jumpers on, because there's only one of them again. So these are some big straight needles which I couldn't fit up here with my other straights, so I put them here, and I think they're 15mm. They came in a basic knitting set when I was little, and they didn't have a size in them, or if they did, I don't remember what it is. So I just put them in here, and I haven't used them because they're really big and I never really have wool that big. Wish I did, but I don't. We'll miss this out right now, and this is some 40cm, 5mm, and this is again for making socks and things because it's quite small. I haven't actually used these. I don't really make socks that often, but hopefully soon I'll be using them a lot. So here, tucked away, is my crochet hook. I have two of these. Well, I have three. Two of them are the same size. They are 4mm. 4mm hooks, and I like using 4mm. I find that they are very good size for double knitting wool, and most sizes of thickness of wool can be used with 4mm needles. So these are my double pointed needles. These particular ones are 3.75s, and they're used to make socks. Sorry, they used to make socks. Yeah, I find these a bit difficult to work with. Like I said, I don't have any way to really store them properly unless I'm just really careful and I don't really touch them. But I still think they're useful to have because I can also use them for cable needles because I don't have enough money to get more. Then hiding here are my long double pointed needles. These are 5mm, and yeah, they're just a bit bigger. I think you could probably make hats on these. I don't think I've used these before, but so you can never have too many needles, and when needles are cheap in charity shops, why not? So this is a tiny crochet hook. I'm not really sure what the sizing on it is. It just says that on it. 1+14. If anybody knows what that means, that would be great. But it's just really tiny, and yeah, I haven't really used this because it's so small, and I don't really know the yarn size for it to be used. But one day, maybe. So I'll come back to these. These are my stitch holders. I have a big collection of them. I just got these today actually. So I got a pack of 10, and I got these off Amazon and they were on sale, and I just thought, why not, because usually I don't have any stitch holders. Well, I do now, I have 10, but I didn't, and every time I needed somewhere to place my stitches, I would just put them on another needle, like these double pointed needles, or just a straight needle, because, and then I'd put a cork on it, but I found that they're quite bulky, and I saw these and I just thought, I'm making a jumper, lots of projects need these, and they just seem quite useful to have, really. They're just like a big safety pin, really. So yeah, those are my stitch holders. You get them in lots of different sizes for little things like toys, or big things like jumpers. So moving up here, this is my straight needle collection, and these, but they didn't fit up here. So the smallest size of needle I have is this. It's 2.75 and or size 12 if you like that kind of system. But if you're metric like me, then it's 2.75. They're the smallest needles I have. I like to make toys on these, so the stuffing doesn't escape, and so it's nice and tight, and the shape that holds itself. So I had to get a new pair of those yesterday, because this is what happened to my other ones. The needle is bent. I'm not sure how. I think it's from carrying it around in a bag, or just not storing it properly, but it's okay because I got another pair. So moving up, I actually have, so I'm using these, which are my 3.25mm needles. These are good for ribbing on jumpers before it asks you to move to a bigger size. That's what those are good for. But I also have, that's what I'm using those for right now, but I also have these, which are 3.75s, and it came with this on it, and this is actually probably the best thing I've seen in my entire life. I don't know why all needles don't do this, but it's just like a thing that holds your needles together, and I thought it was quite rare, because I found most of my needles in charity shops. This one was from a charity shop, this pair, and it had this on it, and usually when you go to a charity shop, all the needles are loose in the bags, but those were together, and I just thought, I'm gonna have to have them even if I don't need 3.75 needles. So that was another addition. So next come to my 4mm needles. These are both 4mm. These were the first pair that I got. They're from Pony. I love them. They're probably my favourite needles, just because 4mm needles are the most useful needles used for double knitting, or just practice. I like to practice on these needles if I'm trying something new. But the reason, they're perfectly fine, but the reason I had to get another pair was because I was knitting a jumper that I spent so long doing it that I got bored, so I wanted to try other things. So I had to get another pair of 4mm needles, and the stopper has come off this, but I got them from Chad's shop, and I don't really mind because they were just cheap. So yeah, those are my 4mm. They're my favourite needles, probably. These are my 5mm needles. They're actually the longest needles I have. And I think they're a mix of plastic and metal. They're very shiny and they're really sharp. So I don't recommend these if you have small children or you'll be teaching them or something, because they're very, very sharp. Plus they're 5mm, so I don't really know how sharp you need your needles to be when you're knitting with 5mm width wool. But anyway, they're quite good. they're my longest needles, and that they're the reason why I had to why I had to sew a new container for a new roll-up thing for all of my needles, because these broke through my bag that I had. So I thought, you know, I'll just make a bigger thing. Next are these. They're plastic, and they're again from a charity shop, that's why they're odd. And they're 6mm or size 4. I've used these, I think, to make scarves with chunky wool. I do like them. They're just another good necessity to have if you're going for a variety of things. And then these are my latest addition, 9mm wooden needles, and I'm planning on making something chunky, hopefully, for my sister next. So yeah, I got these from charity shop, so the ends are a little bit worn, but I think it will be fine because they're obviously being well loved, and like I said, they're from a charity shop, so they were just cheap. So there is my needle collection. Yeah, I'll link the description for this roll-up, and I can't link the needles down below because most of them are from charity shops, and I'd recommend getting things from charity shops because they're cheap and they're right there, and they need a good home, and so why not just get those? Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.